I'm a painter, I'm very much a painter. I came to painting for oil paint in particular, and I've been working entirely in oil paint for some 30 years now. The first 10 years of my practice I was working more overtly figuratively, but probably for over 20 years now the work shifted towards something a little more abstract. The main shift in the work that took place around that time was a shift down onto the ground as well. And that shift, I don't think I realised at the time how fundamental it was really, because it actually changes the whole relationship to the painting. It becomes a ground and a terrain rather than a window. Because of the way I'm working with oil paint, despite it being oil, there's quite a lot of solvent involved, so I have relatively fast drying times, which means there has to be also a unity of time involved. I'm working constantly wet on wet, which means that it's not just about juxtaposition, it's also about superposition. It's a synthesis of layers, and it all has to come together at the same time. It's a bit of a tightrope walk. My father was born in Thurles, County Carlow. This is the first time I'll be showing in Ireland. I've always felt that painting is about place and reclaiming place and space, and at the same time I've always wanted the reading of the works to be quite open. But I think in this show, and coming back to show here specifically, there was an inevitable interrogation of that notion of place, also that notion of home, and even a home fantasized. So that title, Divining, just as I like my works to be quite open, I like my titles to be quite open, but there's a sort of double meaning to that word divining. Divining as in interrogating the land. When I started thinking about this show, I was rereading Seamus Heaney and came across that poem, The Diviner, and I was just thinking of that figure of the diviner who is searching for water, for fertility, and it suddenly struck me that is in many ways, particularly with the way I paint on the ground and horizontally, almost what you do in the studio. There's a quality of light in this building that is quite extraordinary and very beautiful, and the double heights. So many of the wonderful paintings and the paintings I look back to and have always looked back to and learnt from were originally painted for those spaces. A lot of the work that Aoife and I have chosen to show in this exhibition are quite large. The paintings have a maximum of my own reach. There's something quite humanistic about it in terms of there is the measure of man or woman. There's a lot of folding involved in the paint with my work, so that's kind of yet a further folding out by creating diptychs and triptychs. But I actually came to painting after 4 years of studying art history and sitting on those dusty benches. Evie Hone and Mainly Gellett were artists whose work I was seeing in Paris, and I was quite astonished to realise that there'd been this small moment of Irish modernism like that through women in particular, which kind of surprised me. But also Yeats, of course, again back to that thing of brushwork. If there's an artist I can look to in Ireland who had that way of working with oil paint but also capturing light through the brushwork, it's no doubt Yeats. In view of all of that, it was really, wonderful that Aoife suggested that I might curate the collection here at the same time. Again, it's felt like there have been those familiar figures of Irish art who've actually accompanied my journey from the beginning. So again, it feels coming full circle to have this opportunity here.